Adam sat alone in the dim control room, the soft hum of the colony's life support systems filling the silence. Outside the reinforced glass, the twin suns of Vega 9 cast a pale orange glow over the settlement. The sensors blinked steadily, recording every movement, every energy fluctuation. Normally these readings brought him comfort, they meant everything was working, but today they made him uneasy. There was something out there, something he could feel in the deep quiet of space though the readings were still faint. He tapped a panel and watched the screen, tracing the paths of distant ships. The human colony on Vega 9 had always been on the edge of the known galaxy, far from the central trade routes and protected only by a handful of patrol drones. Most of the galaxy ignored them. To alien traders and raiders, these humans were a small prize not worth the trouble. But that assumption, Adam knew, was exactly what made humans dangerous. Across the blackness of space in a far-off system, Taro paced his command deck. His long, gray fingers tapped impatiently on the console, and his eyes flicked over the intelligence reports. He was ambitious, maybe too ambitious, and he did not like being told no. The warnings about humans were clear. The old stories of human cleverness, persistence, and unpredictability had been passed down for generations, spoken of in hushed tones in alien councils. Never provoke humans, they said. They survive where others fail. Taro ignored them all. He looked at the reports of the small Vega 9 colony and smiled. A few scouts and drones, barely a fleet, and the humans could be crushed quickly. No one would remember him except as bold. No one would stop him. He sent his raiders, sleek, black ships that gleamed under distant starlight, slicing silently through the void toward the colony. Back at Vega 9, Adam's unease grew. He ran simulations on the sensors, trying to find an explanation. Nothing seemed amiss. Then a blip appeared on the long-range monitor. A small fleet, moving fast, cutting across the system's outer perimeter. He froze. It wasn't a trade convoy. It wasn't a mining ship. It moved with precision and intent. His fingers hovered over the alert panel. He called the control room, his voice steady but firm. "Lily, get to the bridge." "Now," he said. Within minutes, Lily arrived, her dark hair tied back in a braid, eyes sharp as she surveyed the screens. She had been with the colony for years, an experienced strategist who had seen enough minor skirmishes to know the difference between a threat and a shadow. She frowned. "That's not normal traffic," she said. "They're heading straight for us. All weapons hot, Adam." Adam's stomach twisted. He had heard the stories of Taro's species, fast, cunning, ruthless, but he had never faced them. Still, he had learned something the aliens never did. Humans were never predictable because humans never gave up. He tapped a few keys and the colony's defenses sprang to life. Automated turrets hummed as they rotated toward the incoming fleet. Shields powered up, flickering as they adjusted to the approaching energy signatures. Taro watched his scanners with smug satisfaction. From his perspective, the humans would panic and surrender. Their defenses were minimal, their numbers few. His raiders could land, take what they wanted, and leave. Yet even as he thought this, a strange feeling nagged at him. Something was off. The readings showed no fear, no frantic movement, no chaos. Only calm preparation. That was unusual, almost alien, and it unsettled him more than he wanted to admit. Adam stood with Lily watching the first wave approach. The raiders glided through space silently, almost like predators, and yet the humans had prepared. Drones swarmed from hidden hangars, small but fast, intercepting the lead ships before they could fire. Energy nets and decoy holograms made the alien pilots miscalculate their maneuvers. Taro's surprise turned into anger, then frustration. "This should be easy," he snapped. "Take them down." But the humans did not panic. Adam directed the colony's energy shields to shift dynamically, forming barriers in unexpected patterns. Turrets fired not just at the approaching ships but at the spaces between, cutting off escape routes, creating confusion. The aliens hesitated. Their formations broke apart under the unexpected resistance. Lily glanced at Adam. "They're adapting faster than we simulated," she said. Her hands flew over the console, adjusting targeting algorithms, predicting enemy movements not just by speed but by pattern recognition. Humans did not fight like the aliens expected. They did not rely on sheer force alone. They used thought, improvisation, and courage. Taro's fleet tried to regroup, but every attempt to coordinate was met with another human countermeasure. Small ships emerged from hidden hangars, cutting off the rear. Mines detonated at precise locations, blocking escape paths. The aliens could not understand it. How could such a small, seemingly weak colony hold them off? The battle continued, but Adam and Lily did not focus on destruction. They focused on survival and strategy. Humans always found ways to turn disadvantages into advantages. A raider tried to attack the colony's main energy grid, but Adam had anticipated it. He triggered a magnetic field that sent the ship spiraling into space, completely unharmed but defeated. The humans did not take pleasure in victory. They took measures to protect lives while neutralizing threats. Hours passed. Taro began to see a pattern he did not expect. Humans were patient. Humans were clever. And humans were relentless. The stories had been true, and now he realized he had underestimated them completely. His arrogance had been his first mistake, and it was a mistake that could cost him everything. Adam felt exhaustion but also determination. He looked at the colony, at the automated defenses still humming, and then out at the approaching alien fleet. He knew the humans would survive. Not because they were the strongest, not because they had the biggest weapons, but because they were unpredictable. Because they were willing to fight in ways the aliens could not understand. Lily leaned back, breathing heavily, her eyes never leaving the screens. "They thought this would be easy," she said softly. "They thought humans were weak. They don't know us at all." Taro gritted his teeth. His pride burned, his plans unraveling. The humans had shown him a truth that every alien race had whispered but never dared challenge. Humans are never simple. By the time the last raider retreated, battered and confused, Adam and Lily had already begun repairing minor damages, preparing for the next wave. Because in this galaxy humans always prepared, always adapted, and never stopped fighting. Outside, the suns of Vega 9 dipped below the horizon, painting the settlement in shades of red and gold. Adam looked at the blinking sensors and smiled faintly. Today humans had survived. Tomorrow they would continue to adapt. And no alien, no matter how ambitious or arrogant, would ever forget it. Lily leaned over the control console, her fingers moving quickly across the touch panels. Around her, the hum of the orbital station filled the space. Adam stood beside her, eyes scanning the long-range monitors, his mind calculating every possibility. They had faced raids before, but this was different. The fleet approaching Vega 9 was fast, precise, and well-armed. Yet Lily knew something the aliens did not. Humans never fought by the rules others expected. She pressed a sequence of commands and suddenly the orbital defenses shifted. Invisible energy nets formed across the outer perimeter, designed to slow the alien ships. Drones emerged from hidden hangars, moving like silent predators. They intercepted the first wave of raiders before they could fire, striking with tiny, precise bursts that disabled engines and disrupted sensors. Adam frowned at the readouts. "They're trying to regroup," he said. "But every move they make, we've already accounted for it." Lily nodded. "We've predicted their patterns. They may be strong, but humans are clever. They'll make mistakes if they assume we're just reactive." Meanwhile, far away, Taro stared at his holographic display. He was growing frustrated. His ships were being disabled faster than expected, their formations breaking apart. Supplies vanished in mid-space, communications were jammed without explanation, and his pilots were becoming increasingly disoriented. "How can one species be so clever?" he muttered. His voice trembled with a mix of anger and fear. He had always believed humans were simple, weak, easy prey. Every warning he had ignored now seemed like a mocking echo. Back in orbit around Vega 9, Lily coordinated a counterattack. Not an attack meant to destroy, but one meant to confuse and trap. Energy pulses redirected alien sensors, holographic decoys made ships appear in multiple places at once, and small, fast drones darted between the enemy fleet, striking and disappearing before they could be hit. Adam watched a holographic projection of the battlefield, noting every movement. "They're trying to flank us," he said. "But the drones are already in position to block them. They can't move without walking into a trap." Lily smiled faintly. "Humans are always adaptable," she said. "We don't just fight. We think. We plan. And we anticipate." The aliens struggled to understand. Their ships were powerful, with weapons far stronger than anything the colony had. Yet every attack was met with unexpected resistance. They fired beams of energy, hoping to overwhelm the orbital defenses, but the shields shifted, absorbing and redirecting the attacks. Supplies meant for their fleet seemed to vanish as if pulled from the void. Alien communications scrambled, sending false orders to their own ships. Taro clenched his fists. "They shouldn't be able to do this," he growled. "We are too strong, too prepared." But strength alone was not enough. Adam and Lily worked with quiet efficiency, moving supplies, directing drones, adjusting shield patterns, and constantly monitoring the enemy's reactions. Every alien maneuver was anticipated and countered. The humans did not rely on sheer power, they relied on thinking, strategy, and adaptability. Max, a young human pilot, appeared on the monitors. He piloted a small interceptor, darting between enemy ships with speed and precision. He disabled several raiders with well-placed shots, then vanished into the asteroid field near the colony, leaving Taro's pilots confused and frightened. Where did he go? Taro barked at his officers. How can they move like that? Sarah, another human strategist stationed on the orbital bridge, monitored the aliens' reactions. She noted every hesitation, every adjustment, every failed attempt to regain control. They think they can trap us, she said. But they don't understand how humans think. We're unpredictable. And we'll use that to our advantage. In the alien fleet, tension rose. Pilots whispered among themselves, afraid to make a wrong move. Commands from Taro grew sharper, more desperate. But no matter what they tried, the humans were always one step ahead. Adam noticed a pattern in the aliens' attacks. They always try the same approach when frustrated, he said. We can use that against them. Lily nodded. Prepare the next phase. We'll turn their frustration into chaos. The humans activated hidden energy mines near the outer perimeter. They detonated with precise timing, not to destroy, but to block paths and force the alien fleet into narrow corridors. The aliens were trapped, forced to navigate through deadly fields they could not predict. Meanwhile, human drones swooped in, disabling engines and weapons with pinpoint accuracy. Taro's face grew red with rage. His fleet was faltering. Supplies ran low. Pilots were panicking. Every order he gave was met with failure. And still, the humans remained calm, orchestrating the chaos with quiet confidence. On Vega 9, Adam and Lily exchanged a glance. They had faced dangerous situations before, but this was different. The aliens had underestimated them, and that mistake would cost the attackers dearly. We've done it, Adam said softly, watching the last wave of raiders struggle. We're ahead. They can't predict what we'll do next. Lily smiled. And they never will, she said. That's the difference. Humans don't just react. We think. We plan. We adapt. And when we have to, we survive, no matter what. Taro's fleet began to retreat, battered and confused. The humans had not destroyed them completely, they had shown restraint. But the message was clear. Humans were clever, resourceful, and not to be underestimated. Adam turned back to the monitors, already planning the next defensive strategies. The battle was far from over, but the humans had made their point. They had survived against overwhelming odds, not because they were the strongest, but because they were unpredictable, smart, and united. The twin suns of Vega 9 cast long shadows over the colony as the alien ships disappeared into the distance. Adam, Lily, Max, and Sarah stood together on the orbital bridge watching the stars. Today humans had defended their home. Tomorrow they would continue to adapt, grow, and prepare. And somewhere in the galaxy, Taro would never forget the lesson he had learned. Humans are never simple, never weak, and never to be underestimated. News of the raid on Vega 9 and the humans' unexpected response spread quickly across the galaxy. Messengers traveled at near-light speed, carrying reports of alien fleets failing against a small human colony. The story reached the Great Chamber of the Galactic Council, where representatives from dozens of species gathered to make laws, settle disputes, and watch over the balance of power. The council chamber was vast, with tall crystalline walls that reflected the pale starlight from outside. Delegates floated slightly above the floor in their anti-gravity seats, some with long tentacles, others with shimmering skin or multiple eyes. Their voices filled the hall as reports of the raid were read. Many murmured among themselves, shaking their heads. "This cannot be," one elder alien said, his voice like the crackle of burning ice. "How could humans survive an attack of this size?" "They are supposed to be weak," another added. "They have no fleet, no army capable of such resistance." The council leader, a being with smooth, glassy skin named Ven, called for silence. "The reports are verified," Ven said. "Vega 9 was attacked, and the humans defended themselves with methods we cannot yet understand. They did not retreat. They did not panic. They outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and confused their enemies." A ripple of disbelief passed through the chamber. Some delegates whispered urgently, their voices trembling. Humans had a reputation, yes, but few had ever seen them act with such strategy and precision. Max, a young human pilot, had moved through enemy space like a ghost, striking raiders, then disappearing without a trace. The aliens had no idea where he would strike next, and even their best commanders were powerless to stop him. Lily and Adam were names the council now knew as well. Lily, the human strategist, coordinated defenses from orbit with skill and calm that impressed even the most seasoned observers. Adam, the engineer, had designed the colony's systems to anticipate attacks, shifting shields, rerouting power, and deploying drones in patterns that the alien raiders could not predict. Together, they had turned a small colony into a fortress capable of defeating a fleet far superior in numbers and weapon strength. An alien named Cora, a member of a reptilian species with scales that glimmered in the light, leaned forward, her multiple eyes narrowing. "How can one species be so adaptable?" she asked. Her voice trembled with a mixture of fear and fascination. "We have faced many intelligent races. None can change tactics so quickly, so efficiently. And they do not seem afraid." Others nodded. Whispers spread through the chamber. Some murmured that perhaps the warnings of old were true. For centuries, it had been said in quiet tones that humans should not be provoked, that they survived where others failed, that their unpredictability made them a danger beyond comprehension. But many had dismissed the stories as exaggeration. Now, faced with the evidence, they had no choice but to reconsider. A holographic projection appeared in the center of the chamber, showing the battle as it unfolded. Small drones darted among the alien ships, disabling weapons and engines with surgical precision. Holograms misled the enemy, creating false targets, false attacks, and empty corridors where raiders expected human vessels to be. Max's small ship could be seen weaving through the chaos, striking where needed and disappearing before anyone could react. The delegates gasped, some recoiling in disbelief. "They are ghosts," one whispered. "They fight like ghosts." Ven, the council leader, raised his hands to call for order. "This is not simply a matter of strength," Ven said. "Humans do not rely on overwhelming force. They rely on thought, on planning, on adaptation. They are not predictable. That is what makes them dangerous." In a corner of the council chamber, a young delegate named Rilo, from a species with 4 arms and eyes that could see in complete darkness, leaned toward an older member. "I have studied humans," Rilo whispered. "I thought them weak. I thought them manageable. But their response, it is unlike anything we have ever seen. They are brilliant in their simplicity." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans could defeat a fleet with far greater numbers and technology, what else were they capable of? What might they achieve if provoked further? And more importantly, what might happen if any species made the same mistake that Taro had made? Meanwhile, Taro's name was spoken with a mixture of fear and anger. His arrogance had led him to underestimate the humans, and now he had failed. His fleet had retreated, battered and broken, while the humans remained intact. He had learned a lesson that every alien in the council now understood. Humans were not weak. Humans were not predictable. Humans were dangerous beyond reason. On Vega 9, Max returned to the orbital station after his latest strike. His small ship docked silently and he climbed out, breathing heavily but smiling faintly. "They're never ready for us," he said to Adam and Lily. "They never expect what we do next." Lily nodded, her eyes still scanning the monitors. "And that's why they'll always underestimate us. They think strength is power, numbers, or weapons. But we survive because we think, we adapt, we anticipate. That is what makes humans, humans." Adam glanced at the view of space beyond the station. The stars twinkled, calm and indifferent. Yet somewhere among them, alien fleets would remember this day. The story of Vega 9 would spread, becoming legend. Whispers of human cleverness and resilience would travel from one system to another, carried by those who had witnessed it or heard of it. Back in the council chamber, debates continued. Some argued that humans should be approached carefully, even cautiously, in future interactions. Others feared provoking them further. "We cannot ignore this," Cora said, her voice firm now. "If humans are as capable as this, any mistake could be catastrophic for us." Ven nodded. "Then we must remember the lesson. The humans have shown us that their power is not just in weapons or ships. It is in thought, strategy, and unpredictability. Never underestimate them. Never provoke them. That is the new law of caution across the galaxy." The council adjourned with heavy hearts and anxious whispers. Alien delegates returned to their ships and home worlds, carrying the story of humans who fought with brains over brawn, wit over weaponry. Max, Lily, and Adam's names were now etched into galactic memory, not for conquest but for survival, for proving that humans were different and dangerous in a way the galaxy had long ignored. On Vega 9, the small colony resumed its daily rhythm. Drones patrolled, shields hummed quietly, and the humans repaired minor damages from the skirmishes. Nothing had shaken their spirit. They had survived an attack that no one expected them to withstand. They had outsmarted a fleet, outmaneuvered a superior force, and left their enemies in confusion and retreat. Sarah, another human strategist, looked at the monitors and smiled. "They'll tell stories about this," she said. "But they won't understand us. They'll never fully understand humans. And that is exactly why we survive." Adam nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "It doesn't matter how strong the enemy is," he said. "What matters is what we do with what we have. And humans, we never stop thinking. We never stop adapting. That's how we win." Above them, the suns of Vega 9 rose again, casting long shadows across the colony. The galaxy had watched and the galaxy had learned. Humans were not to be underestimated. Humans were not to be provoked. And somewhere far away, Taro nursed his wounded pride, a small fleet scattered behind him, learning the harsh truth that the young human pilot Max and strategists like Lily and Adam had proven. Humans were clever, resourceful, and dangerous beyond reason. Taro's pride had been badly wounded. The raid on Vega 9 had failed, leaving his ships damaged and his officers shaken. For the first time he felt fear, not for himself but for what the humans might do next. They had survived an attack that should have destroyed them. They had outsmarted him at every turn. And now he realized he had to plan something bigger. He called a meeting with leaders of nearby systems, alien species that had fleets and ambitions of their own. Many had laughed when he first proposed attacking humans. Now they listened with wary respect. "Together we can crush them," Taro said, his voice sharp. "We cannot let this species continue to embarrass us. We will corner them, trap them, and show the galaxy that humans are not invincible." Plans were drawn, ships were refitted, and the alien fleet prepared to move. Their chosen battleground was a dense asteroid field near Vega 9, filled with massive rocks, hidden mines, and narrow passages. It was a natural choke point, ideal for ambush. Taro imagined the humans trapped, unable to maneuver, their ships destroyed one by one. Victory would be complete. But on Vega 9 humans were not idle. Sarah, a young scout with keen instincts and years of experience, had already studied the asteroid field in detail. She knew the hidden crevices, the narrow tunnels, and the safest routes through the debris. Using advanced mapping tools, she charted invisible pathways, paths that no one could see except with the kind of knowledge only a human mind could anticipate. "Adam," she said, pointing to the holographic display, "this field isn't just dangerous, it's an opportunity. The aliens think it's their trap. But we can use it against them if we move carefully. Follow my guidance and they'll never see us coming." Adam nodded, understanding the plan immediately. He gathered the fleet, small, fast interceptors, supply ships, and a few larger support vessels. Each had been upgraded with human ingenuity, shields that could shift and adapt, drones that could hide and strike unexpectedly, and sensors that detected energy changes far beyond normal limits. "We're going to turn their trap into their defeat," Adam said simply. The human fleet moved silently through the void, guided by Sarah's maps. The asteroid field loomed ahead, massive rocks drifting lazily, but deadly in their unpredictability. Mines were scattered throughout, planted by the aliens as part of their trap. To them the humans would be easy prey. They did not know that the humans had already predicted where the mines were, had traced every hidden path, and were ready to use it against them. Taro's fleet entered the field with confidence, formations tight, weapons primed. "The humans have nowhere to run," he told his officers. "They are trapped. Attack on my signal." But as the aliens advanced, their confidence began to falter. Interceptors appeared from nowhere, striking at the flanks of the fleet, then disappearing into tunnels between massive asteroids. Mines detonated in the paths the aliens expected the humans to take. But the humans were never there. Instead, drones had nudged some of the larger rocks into new positions, creating obstacles that forced the alien ships to slow down or risk collision. Lily, coordinating from orbit, smiled as she watched the screens. "They think they control the battlefield," she said. "But we've already rewritten it." Taro growled, unable to understand what was happening. His officers reported confusion. Ships were colliding with debris they had thought would be clear, energy readings were off, and interceptors seemed to appear and vanish at will. "How are they moving like this?" he demanded. "They should be trapped. They cannot escape." But that was the human way. Humans did not follow expectations, they rewrote them. They used creativity, anticipation, and courage to move in ways no alien fleet could predict. Sarah guided Adam's ships through narrow tunnels, past spinning rocks and hidden mines. Small drones darted ahead, creating false targets, drawing enemy fire while the main fleet moved safely behind. The first clash began when a group of alien destroyers attempted to block the humans' advance. Adam gave the signal and the drones activated magnetic pulses, pulling the destroyers off course. They collided with the asteroid walls, damaged but not destroyed, and the fleet pressed forward. Max led a team of small interceptors, flanking the remaining ships and cutting off their escape routes. Taro watched helplessly as his trap turned to chaos. "No," he shouted. "This cannot be. We set the field. We controlled it." But he was wrong. The humans controlled it now. Each ship moved as if it knew the asteroids themselves were alive, flowing and shifting in response to their actions. Mines exploded harmlessly, their triggers avoided. Interceptors darted like shadows, appearing in places no sensor could detect. Even the largest alien vessels were forced to slow, turning cautiously, trying to avoid hidden dangers that humans anticipated. Sarah's voice came through the comms. "Follow the path I mapped. Keep tight. Stay unpredictable. Use every advantage the field gives us." The humans moved with a precision the aliens could not match. Every ambush set by Taro's alliance backfired. Every attempt to flank the humans was countered with clever tactics. The aliens had underestimated the humans' intelligence, their ability to see patterns, and their willingness to take risks. Taro's fleet was slowly being broken apart. Some ships collided with asteroids, others became trapped in tunnels, and the rest were harried by interceptors. Reports of confusion, engine failures, and panic filled the alien comms. "They're everywhere," one officer cried. "We cannot predict them." Meanwhile, on Vega 9, Adam, Lily, and Sarah coordinated the entire maneuver. Supplies were moved in anticipation of enemy attacks. Shields shifted in real time to protect vulnerable points. Drones guided the fleet through the safest paths while keeping the enemy distracted. The humans did not fight recklessly. They fought smart, turning the trap into their advantage. Taro's confidence collapsed. His plan had been flawless, according to his calculations. Yet humans had done the impossible. They had turned the trap against its makers, using skill, logic, and intuition to survive and gain the upper hand. By the time the alien fleet began to retreat, battered and confused, the humans had emerged mostly unscathed. They had proven that strategy, adaptability, and intelligence could overcome greater numbers and superior firepower. The asteroid field, meant to destroy them, had become their ally. Lily exhaled slowly, her eyes on the monitors. "They thought they could trap us," she said. "But they didn't know humans. We survive because we anticipate. We survive because we adapt. And we survive because we never follow the rules others expect us to." Adam looked at Sarah and Max, then out at the distant stars. "They'll remember this," he said quietly. "The galaxy will remember that humans cannot be trapped, cannot be predicted, cannot be controlled." Taro's name would be cursed among his species for generations. His arrogance had led him to believe he could crush a human colony with a trap, only to be undone by their intelligence, creativity, and daring. Humans did not simply survive. They rewrote the rules of engagement, showing that weakness was only what others believed it to be. As the alien fleet limped away, the humans returned to Vega 9, repairing minor damages, reorganizing supplies, and preparing for whatever might come next. Max docked his interceptor, grinning faintly. "They'll try again," he said. "They always do." Sarah shook her head, smiling. "Let them. We'll be ready. And they'll learn the same lesson again. Humans do not follow expectations. We rewrite them." Above Vega 9, the suns rose, casting light over the colony and the asteroid field that had been a battlefield. The galaxy had learned, even if slowly, that humans were not a species to be trapped or underestimated. They were clever, adaptable, and relentless in ways no alien mind could predict. And somewhere Taro would carry the bitter memory of that day, knowing the hard truth. Humans do not follow the rules of others. They make their own. The orbit above Solara Station glimmered in the light of a distant star. The station itself was massive, a hub of human activity and trade, but this day it had become a battlefield. The alien fleets under Taro's command had arrived in force, determined to crush the humans once and for all. Their ships blazed through the darkness of space, weapons charged, engines burning bright. To them, the humans were finally cornered, powerless to resist. But humans had never relied on power alone. Adam stood on the command deck of the lead human ship, surrounded by monitors and consoles that tracked every movement in the orbital zone. Beside him, Lily's hands danced over the controls, orchestrating the battle like a conductor directing an orchestra. Every ship, every drone, every energy grid responded to their commands. "Max, take the interceptors and move to the left flank," Lily ordered. Draw their attention and leave the corridor open. Max nodded, gripping the controls of his small, agile fighter. He shot forward with incredible speed, weaving between massive alien ships and debris. His movements were unpredictable, almost impossible to track. Enemy gunners fired blindly, missing every shot as he vanished into the shadows of Solaris Station's orbit. "They'll never see him coming," Adam said quietly, a faint smile on his face. "That's how humans fight. Not with numbers but with cunning." Sarah, in another part of the station, monitored energy flows and communications. She noticed the aliens trying to coordinate, their signals overlapping, commands crossed, confusion spreading like wildfire. "We've already won half the battle," she said. "They don't even know it yet." Taro, watching from his flagship, could hardly believe what was happening. His massive fleet, which should have overpowered the humans with sheer size and firepower, was faltering. Ships were disappearing without warning, energy grids overloaded, weapons malfunctioning. His officers shouted frantic reports. "How is this possible? We outnumber them. We are stronger." Adam's fleet was careful but relentless. They did not attack recklessly. Instead, they used terrain, the orbit, the station's defense arrays, even the shadows of nearby asteroids, to confuse and trap the enemy. Small human ships vanished and reappeared in unexpected places, cutting off escape routes. Drones disabled engines with magnetic pulses, causing alien vessels to drift helplessly into the station's defense turrets. Lily adjusted the energy grid, rerouting power to defensive nodes at precise moments. Alien beams struck the shields, but the humans had prepared for every angle. The grid redirected the energy back, causing enemy weapons to overload. A series of explosions rocked the outskirts of the fleet, but human ships remained unharmed, moving like ghosts in the chaos. Max swooped down into the midst of Taro's command ships, disabling a raider's engines with a single well-placed shot. He dodged a second volley, shooting out sensor arrays before disappearing again. The aliens tried to predict his path, but humans were never predictable. Every attack was met with anticipation, every trap was turned against its makers. On the station, Sarah coordinated supply lines and reinforcements, ensuring that every damaged ship could be repaired quickly and returned to the battle. Small crews worked in zero gravity, moving between hulls and maintaining systems under pressure. Humans were not only fighting, they were preparing for the next stage, thinking 10 steps ahead while the aliens scrambled to react. Taro's frustration grew. He had underestimated the humans at every turn, and now his fleet was collapsing. "We cannot lose," he shouted, his voice filled with desperation. "They are only a small species. How can they defeat us all?" Adam looked at the holographic display of enemy ships. "They don't understand what humans are capable of," he said to Lily. "It's not the weapons, not the numbers. It's thinking. It's adaptation. That's how we win." Lily nodded. "And they'll keep underestimating us until it's too late." As the battle continued, human tactics became even more clever. Some alien ships were lured into narrow orbital paths, where energy nets immobilized them. Others were forced into areas where drones had set traps. Magnetic pulses, energy bursts, and debris fields that made navigation impossible. Alien pilots panicked, firing blindly, often hitting each other by mistake. In the midst of the chaos, Max led a daring maneuver, guiding a group of interceptors through the enemy lines. They disabled weapons, captured stragglers alive, and returned without a scratch. The aliens began to realize they were facing a species that did not fight by conventional rules. Humans did not just attack, they anticipated, adapted, and controlled the battlefield. Taro watched in disbelief as his ships were systematically neutralized. He saw raiders captured alive, stripped of weapons and rendered powerless, while human ships moved freely around them. Explosions tore through his fleet, but none of the humans were harmed. His pride and arrogance had led him to believe in the invincibility of his numbers, but that belief was shattered now. They are not like anyone else," Taro muttered, staring at the wreckage on his monitors. He had faced cunning species before, strong species before, but none had shown the combination of intelligence, strategy, and adaptability that humans displayed. They were unlike anything he had ever encountered. Adam guided the fleet carefully, ensuring that no human vessel was exposed unnecessarily. The humans were patient. They did not need to destroy every ship to win. They only needed to control the battle, dictate its pace, and leave the aliens no way to recover. Energy grids, drones, and orbital maneuvers became tools in a human symphony of survival. Lily adjusted the shields once again, anticipating the next strike. Alien weapons fired in volleys, but each was neutralized by shifting shields or rerouted energy. Explosions lit the void, but human ships glided through unharmed, striking and disappearing at the perfect moments. Sarah observed the battle from the station, issuing commands that guided reinforcements and repair crews. She had mapped the battlefield in her mind, predicting every alien reaction. The humans fought as one unit, coordinated, intelligent, and fearless. Taro's fleet was now a shadow of its former self. Ships that had seemed unstoppable were disabled or trapped. Alien morale collapsed as commanders struggled to issue coherent orders. Every attempt to regroup or counterattack was met with human ingenuity. Max swooped in once more, capturing a command vessel without firing a single destructive shot. Human drones disabled weapons, rerouted engines, and forced the crew to surrender. The aliens were humiliated, their pride shattered, all while humans suffered minimal losses. Adam, Lily, Sarah, and Max stood together on the command deck, watching the outcome of their planning and execution. They had not relied on brute force. They had not relied on numbers. They had relied on thought, strategy, and adaptation. And it had worked. Above them, Solara Station glimmered in the light of the star, a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. The battle had ended, but its effects would echo across the galaxy. Taro would never forget it. His arrogance, his assumptions about human weakness had cost him dearly. Adam turned to Lily. "They'll remember this day," he said quietly. "They'll know humans are not like anyone else. Not predictable. Not weak. Dangerous in ways they cannot understand." Lily nodded, a faint smile on her face. "That's what makes us humans. That's why we survive." Taro retreated with the remnants of his fleet, his mind racing with disbelief and fear. Across the galaxy, word of the battle would spread. Stories of human strategy, adaptability, and cunning would be told and retold. The lesson was clear: humans may not fight like others, but they survive where others fail, they outthink where others only overpower, and they win in ways no one expects. The final clash above Solara Station had proven it. Humans were clever, adaptable, and unstoppable when underestimated. They were not a species to be reckoned with lightly. They were something else entirely, a force that redefined the rules of battle. And in the quiet of the human command deck, Adam, Lily, Sarah, and Max prepared for the next challenge. The galaxy might try again, some alien somewhere might make the same mistake Taro had made, but the humans would always survive. They would always adapt. They would always win. Years had passed since the great battle above Solara Station. The galaxy had changed. The humans of Vega 9 were no longer seen as a small, weak species. Stories of their cunning, strategy, and resilience spread to every corner of space. Taro's name became a cautionary tale among alien fleets, a reminder of arrogance, underestimation, and failure. On Vega 9 life continued, but the colony had grown. Ships larger and faster than ever glided through orbit, patrols moved in precise formations, and human scientists and engineers worked to expand knowledge, energy systems, and defenses. The colony was no longer just a settlement, it was a symbol. A symbol that humans could survive, adapt, and rise where others might fall. Adam walked through the corridors of the orbital station, his boots echoing on the metallic floors. He paused by a window and looked out at the stars. He had fought battles, guided fleets, and helped turn traps into victories, but he never sought glory. Survival, adaptation, and intelligence had always been their weapons, and they had been enough. Beside him, Lily adjusted some controls, checking communication networks. She glanced at Adam and smiled faintly. "Do you ever think about what the galaxy has learned?" she asked. "Or do you think they'll try to make the same mistake again?" Adam shook his head. "They'll remember. I think most of them understand now. Humans are clever, adaptable, dangerous if underestimated. That's the lesson Taro learned the hard way. But yes, some may forget. Some may try again. We'll be ready." Max appeared from the docking bay, his hands smudged with grease from the maintenance of his small fighter. He grinned at the view of the stars. "It's strange," he said. "We didn't fight for glory. We didn't fight to be feared. We fought to survive. And now the galaxy seems to think we're unstoppable." Sarah joined them, her scanner in hand, checking energy readings of distant ships. "We didn't ask for this," she said quietly. "We didn't want to be legends or heroes. We only wanted to protect our home. But now the galaxy looks to humans for guidance, for partnership, for protection." Indeed, humans had become advisors and partners. Alien races who once underestimated them now sought human strategy officers for fleet maneuvers, engineers for energy systems, and diplomats for negotiation. Humanity's reputation had transformed fear into respect. Not the kind of respect demanded by brute force, but the kind that came from recognition of skill, intelligence, and unpredictability. Taro's name was rarely spoken in friendly conversation. Among alien fleets it was a lesson. Arrogance could cost more than ships and soldiers, it could cost pride, credibility, and the memory of failure. Never provoke humans, became a saying whispered from one generation to the next, repeated as advice, warning, and sometimes fear. Adam, Lily, Max, and Sarah often gathered in the observation deck of Vega 9's station. The twin suns rose and set over the planet's surface, bathing the colony in golden light. Each of them had grown from that first raid, from traps, from ambushes and battles. They were leaders now, not by choice but by necessity. The galaxy had forced them into a role they had never sought. Adam leaned against the railing, looking at the distant stars. "It's strange," he said. "We survived when others thought we couldn't. We adapted when others thought we were too small to matter. And now, the galaxy listens. But we never wanted that. We just wanted to live." Lily nodded. "Humans aren't the strongest, not by conventional measures. But we are clever. We think. We anticipate. That's our strength. And the galaxy has finally realized it, whether they like it or not." Max laughed softly, looking at the fleets moving in formation below the station. "They call it fear. But it's respect. And respect can be powerful. People will listen if they know we're capable. But we don't need to prove ourselves. We just survive and adapt." Sarah smiled faintly, scanning distant star systems for potential threats. "That's all we ever wanted. Survival. Safety. Home. But now we're more than that. We've become a lesson. The galaxy will remember that humans are clever, dangerous, and impossible to predict when pushed. That's our legacy." In the council chambers of other species, discussions often referenced the humans. Some praised their ingenuity, some feared their unpredictability, and others simply acknowledged that underestimating them was a fatal mistake. Reports of human strategies, battle techniques, and adaptive thinking were studied like sacred texts, ensuring that no fleet would make the same error Taro had. On Vega 9, life carried on. Children learned of the battles and victories not as tales of violence, but as lessons in intelligence, strategy, and courage. Schools taught them that clever thinking was a weapon as powerful as a starship, and that survival was not just about strength, but about anticipating, adapting, and never being predictable. Adam, Lily, Max, and Sarah watched these lessons unfold, feeling a quiet pride. Not pride in fame, not pride in power, but pride in the fact that humanity had survived, had adapted, and had shown the galaxy a new way to measure strength. "The galaxy has learned," Adam said quietly, gazing at the stars beyond the observation deck. "Humans are most dangerous when underestimated." Lily leaned on the railing beside him. "And that's just how it should be. We never wanted glory. We only wanted to survive. But surviving has made the galaxy remember us." Max turned toward the stars, thinking of past battles. "And they'll always remember. Taro's arrogance, the traps, the raids, all of it. Humans survived every challenge. We adapted. And that's something no one else can do the way we do." Sarah added softly, "It's not just about battles or fleets. It's about how humans think. How we survive, how we adapt, how we never give up. That's our gift, our power. That's our legacy." As the suns of Vega 9 rose once again, casting golden light over the thriving colony, the four humans stood in quiet contemplation. They had fought because they had to, adapted because they could, and survived because they were human. The galaxy had learned the lesson that humans themselves never sought to teach. Strength was not just in numbers or weapons, but in thought, creativity, and adaptability. And somewhere across the stars, alien fleets would continue to whisper warnings to one another: never provoke humans. Never underestimate them. Never forget that their cleverness is their greatest weapon. Adam looked at his friends. "We didn't want this," he said. "But we survived. We adapted. That's all we ever needed to do." Lily nodded. "And the galaxy will never forget it." Max laughed softly. "We are humans. We survive. We adapt. We endure. And when others doubt us, that's when we are most dangerous." Sarah smiled, watching distant star systems. "The galaxy may fear us now, but that's their choice. We never sought to be feared. We only sought to live. And our survival has become our legacy." The four of them stood together, looking out at the vast expanse of stars. They had not fought for power or fame. They had not fought for revenge or conquest. They had fought to protect, to survive, and to adapt. And in doing so, they had shown the galaxy the true nature of humans. clever, resourceful, and most dangerous when underestimated. And so, the story of Taro's arrogance, of the Vega 9 raid, and of the clever humans who survived against impossible odds, became legend. Not as a tale of violence, but as a lesson in thought, adaptability, and intelligence. Across the galaxy, civilizations remembered. Humans were no longer seen as weak, small, or insignificant. They were partners, advisors, protectors, and at times, the most dangerous species anyone could face. Adam, Lily, Max, and Sarah turned back from the stars and watched their colony. They had not wanted glory. They had not sought recognition. They had only survived, adapted, and endured. But the galaxy had learned the truth. Humans are most dangerous when underestimated. And that truth would last for generations.